What's motor learning? Good question. Glad you asked. Let me explain really quick and give you a really easy example to understand. So let's imagine we have a little kid and they pick up a baseball to throw it. I want you to take a second and think about how they're going to throw that baseball for the very first time. Stop. Think about it. Imagine it. What does the form look like? What you might see in your head and what you've probably seen before, and hopefully this is the example that came to mind, is you see that little kid step and throw with the same arm and the same hand. Right? They're throwing with their right arm, they're stepping with their right foot. Now, when you thought about it, hopefully this example came to mind. That kid picked up the ball, and when they throw it, they step with the same foot as the arm that they're throwing it with. So if they're throwing it with their right arm, they're stepping with their right foot. Now think about a professional pitcher, a baseball player, a little league baseball player. How do they throw the ball? That little leaguer is going to step with, say, his left foot out in front and throw with his right arm. So opposite leg as the arm that you're throwing with. Why? Well, with that kind of pattern, you're able to create greater rotation and hip and torso disassociation to throw the ball further and harder. So the question is, why doesn't that little kid who picks up the first time innately do that? Well, that little kid's doing what you call freezing degrees of freedom. When you throw a baseball for the first time, it takes a lot of muscles and movements. So to try and throw with the opposite leg and arm in a very complex coordinative pattern is difficult. So if the little kid's just trying to throw the ball to one spot, if they freeze degrees of freedom, so they freeze hip and torso rotation by just stepping and throwing with the same arm and same leg, it makes it easier to throw the ball in the right direction. But it's not most optimal for throwing it further and throwing it harder, or even maybe with more accuracy. It's just the easiest to control. But as you become more efficient at a movement and more developed, you actually unlock degrees of freedom, and you can organize your entire body, this complex muscular system, in a way to utilize all of its muscles and rotational patterns to throw a ball more efficiently. So your body learns to coordinate movements, and that coordination of movements through isolating degrees of freedom to opening them up is what we call motor learning.